Hello and welcome to Cole's Custom Shop. This is our first live stream. Today we will be building a log truck and doing a bit of a Q&A and possibly a shop tour. So let's get started. Right here we have an International. Any fans of the channel that may have seen the shorts of this, I put it up on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and asked people what I should build this into. And one of the most common ideas, I think it was actually the highest suggested build, was a log truck. And as fans of the channel will know, I do have a logging display and I have a number of log trucks. So this truck will fit in pretty good. Let's just start with a quick look at some of my other log trucks. So here are three of my log trucks, all customs, and I'll take a little bit of inspiration from each of them in building this new one. So one of the first log trucks in 1/64 scale that I made was this guy. So I just put a flat deck on him, supports on the side, and then built his pup trailer the exact same way. Onto this. This was a Range Rover pickup truck. Built a frame, extended that nice and long, new wheels, made a tandem axle, and then built cross supports and vertical supports for the logs, as well as a new bumper, and we have that winch on the front in case it gets stuck. Then we've got this guy. Bought him in an auction. It was a custom truck. I believe it's an old Ford. All of these, as far as I can tell, are made out of styrene. And then you've got a brass pipe for the exhaust and some wire for the headache rack. I see a few comments so far. Thank you very much. Yeah, these trucks are pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what this one turns out as. So why don't I get set up? We'll get started building this guy, and then maybe later take another break and have a look at the logging display or something like that. Feel free to comment any questions. Again, this is going to be a bit of a Q&A as well. And I am looking for your guys' feedback for certain things like types of videos. Yeah, for sure, you can get a shout out, King Wyatt. Yeah, I appreciate you tuning in for the live stream. Appreciate you commenting, being a fan of the channel, and wish you all the best with your collection of toys and models and your videos and channel with that. That's something I really appreciate about this hobby, that we can support, and there is a lot of support out there for people who are just getting into it, or people who are just getting back into it, or younger generation and older generation. Let's see. Comment, did I see your Versatile? I did see that Versatile tractor. I definitely noticed that. I am a big Versatile fan. Yeah, it's like the Big Bud 747. Ah, there. That popped in nicely. Yeah, I do like those big Versatiles. Of course, I'm from Canada. Versatile started up here and has always been built up here. And its legacy is continued on. Our family has been a Versatile fan right from the beginning. My grandpa ran an old Versatile that we still have, and it was one of the early four-wheel drives. I believe it was the second generation, but it was the first generation of the four-wheel drives, but it had a cab similar to the second generation. Ah, that cab over. Tell you what, why don't we take a quick break and I'll show you a quick snippet of how I built that. So back here, we have him. So, yeah, I did build this guy. Let's have a look over here. So this is what it started out as. So it's an International. As you can see, I made it a flat top, which was quite a bit of work. Thank you. It is definitely one of my favorite trucks. Kept the top off, moved the axle forward, and had to grind out new fenders. Nice. That is something I really like about these models, is these cab overs are still pretty affordable and they're really cool. You know, you don't have to spend as much money as you would on a DCP. You can get these old Ertl cab overs, and they still come with tons of detail with the interior grab bars. Some of them have mirrors, a nice frame that you can extend like this. And I have a couple other customs that I've made out of those cab overs, because you get a lot for what you pay for. Oh, doing it with a Peterbilt. Nice. Yeah, I definitely do like customizing the old Ertl trucks. There's something about that when a truck is a little bit cheaper, you take more risks, which is kind of nice. You know, if you started out with a very expensive truck that you put a lot of money into, you don't take as many risks with the build, and then it never actually turns out how you wanted, because you didn't actually do what you wanted to do, what you planned to do. So for that one, I just used the original one, cut it off of the original truck, but I have done many different styles. So I've got some 3D printed ones. I can pull some up right now, actually. So I got a guy to design me some of these 3D printed fifth wheel plates. And I used up almost all of them already. But they were actually quite expensive getting him to do it, because it didn't really matter how many I got. He had a minimum charge. So even though they barely use up any material, it turned out to be like $2 a piece, which isn't bad, but yeah, it was really handy having a whole bunch of those. But I designed my own and sent them off to a buddy to 3D print, and he has been super busy, hasn't been able to get around to them yet, but that is okay because I am hoping to get my own 3D printer eventually. Yeah, it's not bad for $2. It's actually pretty good. But I did design my own. If I get a 3D printer, then I can use my own design and my own ones, and it literally costs a couple cents per unit, which would be pretty great. For sure, we can see Big Brute. There is most of the big buds. There's a 747 we were talking about earlier. And here is Big Brute. So any Welker Farm fans out there would recognize this guy. So this is definitely a budget build. So I started out with pretty much nothing and no money into it. So I got these wheels from some broken toys that a friend gave me. Got these booms from a broken sprayer. They were actually full of hot glue. I actually had to put them in the sink to melt the hot glue off of them. Cleaned them up, fixed them up. And, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm a big Welker Farms fan too. That's really sweet. I'd love to go down and visit them sometime. They're not far across the border. I live just probably six hours away from them at most. But my in-laws live down there, and so I would definitely love someday to go stay with my in-laws for a night and then head down south and meet up with Welker Farms. Oh yeah, nice. But yeah, you are definitely a little ways away from Montana. Absolutely. One thing with Big Brute is I got the measurements for the frame from the real spreader trucks online. Built the cab from an old tractor and built the hood from scratch, put an engine in there, put some big bud decals on there, and I have a nice little surprise coming up. Where did it go? I made some Welker Farms logo decals. So I'm definitely going to slap one of those on Big Brute. So it'll be pretty great. So let's start off with the yard here. So this is kind of a truck yard, larger farm yard, just a lot of equipment right here. In here we've got the shop. and an old custom pull type combine, some old 4-wheel drives, got an engine, a V8 that I built from scratch on that tire down there. Got a couple antiques. And then out in front, we have this truck boosting the batteries on the International. This is a first gear truck, so the wheels do turn, doors open, hood opens. It's pretty nice. Got some more stuff out here. Got the corn planter and a homemade seed tender back there. I have an old grain wagon. Got this custom Kenworth that I made a long time ago, along with this scratch built step deck trailer. Couple old International and case tractors on there. Got the Kenworth. And this guy is pulling a pickup header for the combine along with a straight cut header behind. Sprayer trailer there. This is cool. Picked up this Freightliner at a toy show not too long ago, and it has the General Lee on there. Got a spreader, case sprayer, an old Terragator, and then a couple quad tracks. Okay, so far this truck's looking pretty good. I'm thinking to go with these for the width, but I think I might go a little shorter on these. I think that would be a little tall right there. I definitely would sell some stuff. I actually have some things that I took to a Christmas craft fair a few days ago to try and sell. Sold a few things. At those, I mainly hand out business cards and get orders. Custom orders. Sometimes people want their a replica of their dad's pickup truck or grandpa's tractor or something like that. But I definitely am open to either building things for someone or possibly selling some of my own stuff. Right now for sale, I have a set of Super B grain trailers, which are in a box right now, but they are very similar to these. So they are 28-foot trailers, where the front one is 3 axles with a 5th wheel plate, and then the rear one follows behind. They're very popular up here in Canada, and they are entirely scratch built out of wood and plastic. So I have one of those with a cool custom T700, and then I have an old International 1660 combine. I believe that's the number on it, with a pickup header that I made custom for it, and then a different style corn header that I mounted. I had to adjust some things so that it would fit. So that combine has a few custom pieces like the pickup header and the corn header, as well as the unloading auger. What else? I have the Steiger on the planter. Let me just grab that guy. Okay. So this is pretty sweet. I don't know if I can focus there, but it is a Steiger Cougar. It is pretty sweet. Everything's all original. This isn't a custom. This is just stock the way it was. The only thing I don't like about it is that sticker right there isn't exactly lined up, but I definitely can slide it and glue it down, make sure it's in place. I'm not exactly sure how much I'd sell this for. I probably would be willing to part with it. But I see you are King Wyatt. You are from Iowa. So shipping might might turn out to be more than what you'd pay for the tractor. But tell you what, why don't we look into that? If you're serious about this tractor, and if you wanted anything else, the more we send in the same package, it's not going to raise shipping cost at all. But how about afterwards? Yeah, you send me some emails. We'll try and look up how much shipping from Canada, from Alberta, Canada, would cost to Iowa, and then if it's not too bad, then if we send this and maybe a couple little things with it, then it might be worth it. But yeah, definitely sucks with shipping, especially when it's things like a $20 toy or something like that, and you're paying $30 shipping to go out of country. That definitely hurts. But that tractor is just stock, so you can definitely find it from different toy dealers. Yeah, I see Minnesota Customs have the same tractor. Yeah, I definitely just bought mine. It was new in the package at a toy show. So you should be able to find it if you're out there looking. But it is a good looking tractor. And even with me, I'm not entirely sure where to put it and what to do with it. If we just have a quick little look at the rest of the farm, we have him there. I have him on the planter right now, but at the same time, I'm not really sure where to put him. Comment if you've got any suggestions. Right now, as far as four-wheel drives go, oh, thank you. I have these two guys with the custom harvest crew because they're nice and narrow. I have a few quad tracks, some old, some newer, some smaller tractors like that, and then some of these four-wheel drives, as well as those two Versatiles down there. I know King Wyatt, you're a Versatile fan. Those are some sweet old Versatiles that are getting harder and harder to find. Then I've got my big buds. Definitely like those. This guy on triples. And then a bunch of two-wheel drive old case tractors. Over here, this is fairly new. Thank you. Right here we've got the harvest crew for silage. So I have this silage chopper. It's a older cloth. Made it out of an old tractor with the pickup head for doing haylage that does move up and down. That's all scratch built. Have all these straight trucks. Have that older pull type chopper. It has a pickup head on it as well. And then a few wagons. And then two 40-foot end dump trailers on those Peterbilts. And this big case stagger with the blade for packing down silage. So as you can see, I don't have any high horsepower front wheel assist tractors that you would probably more typically see on a planter that size. And I have kind of a weird mix of old four-wheel drives, newer four-wheel drives, and old two-wheel drives. So not entirely sure what to keep on that planter and where this guy really fits in. Also, I bought him before I got the Versatiles and the Big Buds and all these quad tracks. So he was kind of already part of the collection. But I do have plans for kind of putting some of the collection on a shelf and then switching the things out on the display. And that Steiger would probably live on the shelf. And then every time I have a scene that I want to put him in, switch him in and out. I also may do an egg dealership with a whole bunch of tractors and stuff. I think that would be a pretty cool display. So yeah. We have another comment here. How much do you think your collection would be? I think it would be a lot. I agree with you. I think my collection would be a lot. Just looking at a few things, a fair bit of my collection. This bottom table is all mostly Hot Wheels cars, some M2s, some Johnny Lightnings, some Hot Wheels Premium, some Matchbox. Those aren't worth a whole lot per car, but there are a few that are worth more, definitely. Got a whole bunch of semi-trucks down here. And then with the custom harvest crew, we've got all those combines, tractors, grain carts, all of these semi-trucks. The stuff in the yard, sprayers, trucks, tractors down here. We've got the farm, some construction equipment down on the logging display, and some smaller 187 scale tractors, and then some pulling trucks and tractors up there. Total, I don't know how much they'd be worth. Like some of these DCP trucks with their trailers are worth a significant amount. They are very expensive. But the best part is I didn't have to pay full price for most of the things that I got. Most of them, I found a pretty good price either at a toy show or an auction of some kind, and they turned out pretty good. I've also done some custom work, so I have made a little bit of money back with that. Not a lot, but a little bit. And that has also helped things. Yes, DCPs are a lot of money. I don't know for you guys down in the States, but up here in Canada, because the Canadian dollar is so much lower than the American dollar right now, a DCP truck that 2 years ago was a what was it? It was $100 for a truck and trailer sealed in the box. And now that same truck and trailer, and that was at a toy show, so that was as good as you could get for a price back then. But now that same setup probably put you back $150. So DCPs are definitely a lot of money. The way I've gotten around that is taking cheaper trucks and customizing them. So I'm talking spec cast trucks, Erdl trucks, mostly older ones, whatever I can find, and then adding more details on them so that they look all right next to the DCP trucks. Another thing that you can do is some dealers will take the trucks out of the package and sell you the trucks separately without the trailer, and that can save you a little bit of money. But it still turns out expensive either way. Yes. See another comment here. To sum it up, basically, you've got a big model farm, but it's tough because you've got pets in the house. I deal with that here too. I hear you. I have 2 cats in my house, and they're really cute, and I love them, but they are not allowed in the workroom here. They are not allowed in the custom shop without supervision. If I'm in here working away, they can definitely be in here. The one likes to sit on one of my tubs full of stuff or boxes and just sit there and watch me and fall asleep even. And they'll come in here and I'll give them a quick pet as they're walking by, and then they go on their way. But if I'm not in the room, they're not allowed, which is annoying when I have to leave. Then I basically have to check to see if they're in here or go out of the room, double check, see if they are out there. And if I see them out there, then I know I'm good to close the door, because I have accidentally locked them inside here a few times, and they don't really like that, and I don't like that either. But I haven't had too many problems, thankfully. They haven't broken very much the times that they have jumped up on stuff when I wasn't looking, or gotten locked in here for a few minutes when I wasn't in here. And in general, cats are pretty good at walking over things and avoiding things when they need to. But ours, when we got them, were still kittens. And so when they're chasing each other, they are not careful. Even if they're normally consciously very careful, when they're chasing each other, they are not careful. So right now, I'm building the bunks for the log truck. Hopefully that doesn't stick to the table. I'm going to check a few comments here. Yeah, Um, definitely. I see. Yeah. Comment. That's what I did when I got my DCP that I bought. And then I got the trailer separate. Um, yeah, it is nice that that is an option. Unfortunately, they don't send it like that from the factory most of the time. So dealers that bring them over here from China have to cut them out of the package and then separate them. But for those of us who keep their models out of the package anyways, that is not a big deal, and you get a bit cheaper price for something that is no longer in the original packaging that you were going to take out anyways. I got the best deal ever on that John Deere combine of mine because the vendor I was buying it from got it, and when it arrived, it had the box was very damaged. The combine itself was perfectly fine, but because the box is damaged, he sells to a lot of collectors that keep it in the box. And so he got a discount, transferred on to me getting a discount. I took it out of the box anyways. It worked out perfect. Oh, yeah. I see another comment. Yeah, getting a DCP truck used somewhere like a flea market or something like that, and then fixing it up with some parts. Fantastic idea, especially if you are wanting to build a custom. If you are wanting to make a custom truck and repaint it, I highly, highly recommend getting a secondhand or used truck that's already out of the box if you can, because you will save that much more money. And it doesn't matter if there's paint chips or damages or sun fading because you're stripping that paint off anyways and painting it yourself. It is really hard for me working on a budget to take a brand new toy or model out of the packaging and then strip it right down to bare metal and then repaint it. I've done it. And with cheaper things like Hot Wheels cars, it's not a big deal. But with something like a DCP that can run you, 150 bucks, 180 for some of the nicer ones with lowboy trailers, that can get very, very expensive and is kind of hard when you're taking something that is already really good, essentially perfect, and you are tearing it down to make it custom. I highly, highly recommend trying to find something that's used or at least already out of the package because it's used and trying to build with that instead. Ooh, I am making a mess on my cutting mat. I didn't have a proper cutting mat like this for a long, long time. I was using an old cutting board from the kitchen that I destroyed. But it worked. It didn't cost me anything, and it definitely got the job done. But it was bright red. And so when I was filming time lapses of me building something on the workbench, the lighting just looked terrible. And every time I'd take a picture of something, exact same thing. So I'm hoping that this nice black cutting mat improves the quality of videos and pictures because they'll have a nice background and a little better lighting. So I see I have a few people watching here. We are today building this truck into a log truck. I posted this a while ago and it was all black, used to have a grain box on it. I customized that box onto a different truck and posted a video of this asking people what I should build. And the most common comment was a log truck. There were some other great ideas, cool things like a fire truck or tanker truck, grain truck, flatbed, all kinds of cool stuff. Some Mad Max truck ideas. But I like the idea of a log truck as soon as somebody mentioned it. And seeing as how I have a logging display and other log trucks, this guy will fit in no problem whatsoever. Great question. What is my favorite tractor brand? A bit of a loaded question, though, because I just a few days ago accepted a job at a John Deere dealership. It's a job that suits me really well. I was working in healthcare before. It was great while I was there, but I needed something else. I needed a change. And I'd been there for 3 years and was looking for something else. And John Deere was hiring, so I ended up applying for a job there. And I'm very, very excited about it. I start in about a month, and I think it's going to be great working there. But as far as my favorite brand of tractor, I think I'd have to go with Versatile. It's something I was saying earlier was my family has been a Versatile family since since way before I was born. My grandpa bought a early Versatile. It was the models that didn't even have a cab, but his was one of the first that had a cab on it, and most cabs were put on the second generation of them. So it was fairly rare with that. You only see them really around Canada because Versatiles were made and still are made in Manitoba. And so I've always loved the big horsepower Versatiles. And when I was little, we had my dad was running an 835 Versatile, which had been upgraded or had been the upgrade from the original one, even though we still have the original one. And then when I was in junior high, he traded that in and got a blue Versatile, which, if some of you don't know the history of Versatile, it was bought by Ford, the Ford Tractor Company, which later then became a part of New Holland, which is now owned by the same company that owns Case. So when it comes to high horsepower tractors, the big four-wheel drives, I definitely am a Versatile guy. And, our first 3 big horsepower tractors on our family farm are Versatiles. I do really like International, Case, Steiger, Big Bud, John Deere, all of those. In different contexts, I have, favorite tractors for 2-wheel drives, favorite combines, favorite modern tractors, favorite vintage tractors. But I would say my favorite tractor brand is Versatile, even though I am going to be working at John Deere. I see. You have a John Deere lawnmower. Oh, and your friend owns a John Deere Model A tractor. That is pretty sweet. We also on our farm have a lot of antique John Deere tractors that my grandpa collected. And those antique John Deeres also hold a very special place in my heart. Let's take a quick look at my Versatile tractors, and then let's look at logging equipment because we are building a logging truck. So up here is my newest Versatile. It is a 500 on singles, which works great for pulling a trailer, or pulling a grain cart, sorry, on a trailer for the custom harvest crew, because it's not too wide. It is the older paint scheme with the red and cream color. In the shop, we have a versatile 936. And then down here have two more. I sent a picture of this trailer to somebody and they said the description should be, tell me you're overloaded without telling me you're overloaded. And that is a lot of weight for just one trailer. Those are some pretty sweet versatiles. Okay, so far, this truck's put together, waiting on these to dry a little bit more, and then we'll brace them up to hold those logs. And I showed this to some people at the beginning, but some people weren't able to watch till now. These are some of my other log trucks. This guy was a Range Rover pickup truck that I built a whole new frame, added wheels, added a bumper, and then built those log bunks. Turned out pretty good. Onto this Kenworth, I built a flatbed and then the side supports for the logs. And it also has a pup trailer, which I may build a pup trailer for the international we're working on right now. So it's a pretty sweet log truck. Then this guy, I got him in an auction. I believe it's an old Ford. All custom made. All of this stuff is styrene, whereas on these two that I made originally are wood. You can see he used some I-beams and then some pipe or round tubing. That is also styrene to make those log bunks. And then a brass exhaust and a nice wire headache rack right there, as well as homemade mirrors. It's a pretty sweet truck. Okay. Oh, you have a 132 scale versatile 570. Nice. That is pretty sweet. I don't have many 132 scale tractors, but I definitely appreciate them because you get a little more detail with them and they're pretty sweet, but yet they're not as expensive or as huge as the 116 scale, which don't always have that much detail, ironically. So let's just set this down for a second. I'll read a few comments. Let me know, guys, if you think I should also build a pup trailer for this guy. So he will have 3 bunks on the back. He can run just as a normal straight truck. Or do you think he should run with a pup trailer? Kind of like that white Kenworth up there. Ah. Well, thank you very much, King Wyatt, for tuning in. I see it's getting late for you. And thank you very much for watching. I'm going to keep going with the video a little bit. And I appreciate you guys for sticking around. I guess also, yeah, my time zone is Mountain Standard Time. So it will definitely be a few hours off from people at different parts of the world, the farther east or west that you go. Build a pup trailer for it. I like that idea. First, let's have a look at the logging display. So let's start at this end. So this logging display is fairly basic for now. I have big plans to redo it, and I'll walk you through that later. But let's start off with the harvester. So this log processor head, 9:21 in Minnesota. Yeah, in Minnesota. Cool. So that's just an hour ahead of me. I guess Minnesota would be big millennial farmer fans on YouTube. I am also a millennial farmer fan. Um, got some pretty entertaining videos, and he's been doing it for a long time. But yeah, that is the harvest head. It's held on with a magnet, so it does swivel. Has a saw on the bottom to cut logs. So it can cut down the tree and cut it into pieces. Have a John Deere log skidder with the Caterpillar D11 dozer in the back clearing out those stumps. Have this homemade log skidder. This old Matchbox king size in the bushes. Up here, it is very common to find old trucks from the 40s, 50s, 60s in the bush because they were big enough that if they broke down, there was no way to get it off the mountain. And there are some pretty insane logging roads up here in Canada in some of the mountains. So there are plenty of stories of finding old trucks just off the road of some of those logging roads. So I feel like this describes that pretty good. Over here, back there, you can see that Steiger with a chain, also skidding logs. Fun fact, Steiger actually built a few log skidders back when they were in the farm factory. So it was basically a shop on their farm when they got their start. They built a few log skidders. Right here, this is where that white Kenworth would normally be. So I have the Caterpillar log loader there, have a mountain sheep in the background. And then this trailer, it's not painted yet, but I recently built it. It is a log loader. This spins, that can grab those, open up. I actually built those out of rippers from a dozer. So you can drop that off. That guy can pick up the logs and run them through. This has blades and knives that will delimb the logs, so cut the branches off so that they can stack nicely and be milled nicely. And then that guy can load it onto the truck. Have the Caterpillar excavator there, also loading logs. Normally that Ford would be right there. And then there's a little Volvo log truck back there. And then a small excavator that was a smaller scale build that I cut the cab off, made a larger cab so it fit this scale because the bucket and booms and tracks are the same as a small excavator in this scale, which most of my things are about 1/64 scale. Right here, I have the Super B log truck. That was a custom that I got in the auction. And that old Peterbilt also got in the auction. It's pretty sweet. There is suspension, and those log bunks swivel. And then a few old customs of mine. This is a 187 scale log truck. This, of course, comes off, hooks on behind. Got that Kenworth there. And then that old custom that used to be a monster truck. Actually turned that into a nice day cab pulling logs. So that is the log display. I can't wait to get this international done and on here. Of course, this would have these 3 trucks on there as well. And big plans for this. I've gotten a lot better with my scenery details than when I made this. I have a lot more trees. I've been carving foam, using dirt, all of those things, planning to eventually replace this with a layer of foam that's carved out with the road in the back and nice ups and downs, and then put in a whole bunch of trees and better looking trees than these And then that'll be the upgraded logging display, which should suit this truck pretty good. What's my favorite brand of pickup truck? I am a Dodge guy. I grew up with Dodges. My dad's first car was a Plymouth. Then he tried Chevys and Fords, and when they let him down, he went back to Dodge. Bought a Dodge pickup truck when I was young. We always drove Dodge minivans, Dodge Durangos, the Dodge truck. My grandpa had a really nice Dodge pickup truck, and my best friend's dad, who drove us to a lot of basketball games and baseball games and youth group and stuff like that. He had a Dodge pickup truck with a Cummins in it. So I associate all those with a lot of nostalgia, and I've always been a Dodge guy. So definitely Dodge is my favorite brand of pickup truck. As you can tell, up here on the oil field crew or fleet, sorry, I'm going to be doing if you haven't checked this out, check out the channel. There is a pretty sweet video about this fleet. And I'll be filming a second part 2 pretty soon because I have a few new trucks. 3 new semis and 2 new pickup trucks. So right here, Dodge, 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 Dodge. This fleet is the black Dodge truck. Is what this fleet is, all green and black semi trucks and trailers and black Dodge pickup trucks. I do have lots of others, Ford, Chevys, bit of everything, but I have a very special place in my heart for Dodges. What are some of your guys' favorite truck brands and tractor brands for that matter too? I suppose you could just say international and cover everything, eh? Or Ford, I suppose too. Yeah, Dodge, Ford, and Chevy. Dream Truck, sorry, is an 02 7.3 Power Stroke. Nice. Yeah, I definitely, when it comes to trucks, I like to talk crap about Fords or Chevys sometimes because I like Dodges, but I am not so diehard that I don't like Fords and Chevys. I definitely do like Fords and Chevys. A dream truck that I get to restore is a truck on our farm that's a 1952 Chevy, and I definitely like that truck, and definitely like Fords and Chevys. Basically, when it comes to trucks, for me, I like Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. Anything American made is where I gravitate to for trucks. I don't mind some of the older Toyotas or something like that, but when it comes to trucks and cars, I am definitely an American made kind of guy with the big 3. So yeah, definitely comment if you guys have any favorite trucks, and not even just brands, even just your dream truck or the truck your dad had when you were little or something like that. I always love hearing about those things. You know what? I think these need some angled supports in the corners. Otherwise, I put logs on, they're just going to fold out. This should probably work good. Maybe I'll use clippers instead. Only problem with that is then one edge isn't flat, so then I have to cut it again to get a nice good flat edge. Hopefully the camera's focusing all right and focusing on the pieces instead of just my hands. But bear with me as I work around the camera. Yep. Nice. Got some friends that own some pretty sweet 7.3 Power Strokes. Appreciate the comments, definitely. Thank you very much, Minnesota Customs. An old snowplow, that is pretty sweet. There's something pretty cool about old snowplows that, you know, they just go through anything and are just the toughest things around. This styrene's pretty thick. Let's see if I can break it. Nope. Need some more cutting. So with this styrene, the trick is to score a nice line, and then you can break it in half. But the problem I'm having here is it is so tiny that you can't get any leverage on that. Maybe I'll use 2 sets of pliers off camera, and that should help. Oh yeah, there we go. That's working. I just got to do that a bunch more times. That's annoying. If any of you are wondering about my camera setup right now, I'm just live streaming off my phone on a little tripod. Normally though, I do have a GoPro here for time lapses, but most of my pictures and videos, aside from the time lapses, are taken on my phone, because then I can use headphones or a mic and capture some better audio than I can with the GoPro that I currently have. Yes. Here's a comment saying that I follow you on TikTok from Minnesota Customs. Definitely thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And that was the whole point of me starting a TikTok, was so that I can reach out to new people and get them on all my platforms. You know, I have YouTube, which is my main platform, and Instagram that I'm fairly active on, and TikTok that I'm active on now. And I post different content, mostly the same content, but a few different things here and there. And I really appreciate people following me on several platforms. Thank you very much. One thing nice about TikTok is doing short videos in like a vertical view is pretty nice on there for editing and uploading. And most of my YouTube shorts now, I upload on TikTok first. So if you want to see some of those ahead of time, almost like a sneak peek, you can follow me on TikTok at Cole's Custom Shop. Or if you want to see some other projects even before that, you can follow me on Instagram at 164scale.cars.trucks. And I do have links for that if you go to my channel here on YouTube. And some of those will have sneak peeks, pictures or videos of projects before they're here on YouTube. But also, there are things that I definitely put on YouTube that I don't put on those two. So definitely make sure to subscribe here on YouTube to follow along so you don't miss stuff. Okay, Yep, I have enough corner supports. So let's start putting these in. Ooh, here's a comment that says, from Minnesota Customs, my friend's plow truck is a 1972 Ford pickup. That is really sweet. I do love those older square body, old body style Ford and Chevy pickups. I like the Dodges too, but of course they weren't as popular. It's interesting with the different platforms like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram because I find different things on there because I'm on there watching just as many videos as everybody else. And on TikTok, I have found a huge community of square body Ford and Chevy guys that are restoring and driving and rebuilding full size pickup trucks. And a lot of them are, going around, maybe seeing in an old yard or an old field a old pickup truck, and then they go up to the owner or farmer or whoever whose ever truck it is and ask if they'd be willing to part with it. And some don't. Some are saving it for their grandson or saving it for their family. And I get that. I wouldn't want anything to happen to the old trucks that we have. Um, I wouldn't want them to go to somebody else. But some are like, yeah, I don't have the time to or money to get that thing restored like it deserves. And, you can either pay me a reasonable amount for them, or if they're not the greatest shape, then you can, if you can, move it, if you can get it out of here, it's yours. And I've seen some pretty crazy stories and videos of um, people with a truck in the middle of nowhere and it doesn't have good tires and it is just a piece of work and they are having a very hard time getting it out of there. But when they do, that truck means so much more to them than anything that they could buy off the showroom floor. That's for certain. Alrighty. I don't have much left with this, so just going to trim this guy up. So right now, with this truck, we're looking at this with all three log bunks on there. I'm thinking to put these exhausts right behind the cab, one on each side possibly. Fuel tank there, or actually on the other side, but that spot. Some mud flaps on the back. And then I'll eventually build a pup trailer that is very similar. Pull that behind. It should look pretty good. It should match the others very well. So thanks for sticking with it and watching the video. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions, now's your chance to comment them before we wrap this up. So I will glue those pieces on, give you guys a chance to comment if you have any comments. And I am happy to answer any questions. And definitely, if you think of something later, please feel free to put it in the comments of this video or any of my other videos, or send me a direct message on Instagram or anything like that, or an email. My email is in the description. And if you guys are ever interested in purchasing anything too, we can talk about that over email. And especially if you guys have ideas for builds or ideas on how to do something, that would be very appreciated. So alrighty. Well, we're going to wrap this video up. Again, thank you very much for watching. This is going to be a sweet truck when it's done. Hope to do another live stream soon because this was definitely a success. So thank you very much, and goodbye from Cole's Custom Shop.